Hi Doug, really great session last week, really good to meet up with you again. One or two issues that we were experiencing during the session were we've still got a little bit of a tendency to lean back slightly when you were coming into impact, so there wasn't enough downward force into the ground. There was a lot of hitting up at it rather than hitting down, especially with the irons. Excuse me. And the main reasons for this really were a lack of extension in your backswing, and by that we basically mean not just your spine but your basically the entire right side of your body. So as you start your backswing here, I want you to just take note of the level of your hips here. So we can actually see that your right hip's actually slightly lower, than your left. Now as we start back, excuse my camera work, you can see there's no real change in the level of your hips at all. But right hip raises slightly, but there's no real movement in the lower body. There's no real rotation, there's no extension, so your right hip stays as it is, and it should be coming up a bit higher. That is then creating forward tilt with your spine, because obviously you've rotated round, so your spine is actually still flexed forward, and we're trying to extend the spine in your backswing to give it more of this kind of look. It's a bit sort of straighter on. Now from behind the ball there, you're always likely to either hit behind the ball or hit up at it excessively. And you can see here the weight stays behind, and you're always behind it, and you're always going to be hitting a lot, like I said, a lot of thin shots. We'll just have a look from a different angle. Let's rain this in a little bit. Yeah. One of the big issues I find here is if you have a look at the amount of flex in your right knee at setup, as you start back, there's no real change. There's a bit of a change, but not a great deal. And the issue you've got there is that as soon as your lower body, if you try and maintain that right flex in your right knee, in your backswing, the hips don't rotate properly or at all, which means that your upper body can't rotate fully. If we just take this back to the top of your backswing here, you can see how little shoulder turn there actually is. You're looking 45 degrees, 50 degrees maximum. And as we start back here, you can see that without the lower body rotating, it makes it very difficult for your upper body to rotate, and that's then going to lift your hands and arms up off your body and above plane, trying to get the length to your backswing. And then you've got to try and, we talked about how you've got to try and then reroute it inside on the way down, causing you to get the club stuck behind you and giving you a very excessive into-out path. So really coming underneath it, causing you to hit a lot of blocks and a lot of quick lefts as well. So just a very inconsistent strike. If you have a look here, you can see if the club exits almost through your neck. It's always going to cause you a few issues. So, sorry about that, just the phone ringing in the shop. Yeah, sorry, so the main points that we were trying to improve during the session was, if we just have a look at obviously this one here, and then this is a little bit later on, and what we're trying to do here is just have a look at this here. For starters, the right hip's higher at setup, so we gave you a little drill. So we were going to try and put that extension in early, so hitting shots with a straight right leg and your right hip higher. And what happens then, I mean, there's a bit of a shift left with your hips, but we'll get that as we continue. If we get to the top of your backswing there, you can see much more extension. The right leg straightened. Like I said, we've had a bit of a hip sway to the left, but we can keep working on that. And you can see there a much fuller shoulder turn, which is going to give you, amongst anything, it's going to give you a lot more power as well. but because of this as well, we managed to get on top of the ball, and we're much less likely to hit up on it on the way through. Just have a look at this from a different angle. Just highlight that right flex and knee. You take that back, you can see better change. And then on the way down, to try and combat the excessive out to in, into out swing path, sorry. We got you to feel as on the way down as though you were trying to hit the brakes quite early and trying to hit some straight pulls. So if we just get into this position here, yes, the club head is still behind you. It's in sort of this position here, but you can see. Sorry, just stick an arrow on that. Club's in a much more neutral position, starting to zero out that swing path, that plane, get it more online, should reduce the amount of right to left on the ball and also the big blocks as well. So main points from the session: hitting balls with your right hip higher at setup to try and get that fuller extension in your backswing, and then trying to hit some straight pulls for me to try and level out that swing plane. Obviously, when you're out on the course, just go out and play, don't worry too much about these kinds of things, but in practice, this is something that you've got to work on quite hard. So best of luck with it, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye for now.